Hello and welcome back to the Stacey West YouTube channel, and welcome back to another preview. We are looking ahead to Saturday, which may end up being Tom Shaw's last game as interim manager at Lincoln City, but we are going to be facing Port Vale. So to talk all things Port Vale, I am joined by Johnny from the Ale and Vale podcast. How are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm quite looking forward to this game, I've got to be honest. Certainly going to be an interesting one to see how we sort of match up against each other. But like I say, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. So I guess kicking off straight away, I normally kind of ask how the season's gone so far, but yours has kind of been a tale of two halves so far, hasn't it? Like, obviously, everybody knows what happened on the opening day against Barnsley, but then you went on a really good run, and now you're on a bit of a poor run. What's been going right or wrong?
Yeah, I think it started on that opening day because there's not many times you'll concede 7 and walk away and go, for 50 minutes of that, we actually played all right. So we saw the foundations were there on the opening day, and then we scraped a win in the cup against Fleetwood and was like, right, okay, that was a blip, but we're still a bit open at the back. Then we went on a couple of games where we looked decent at the back and whatnot. So we kind of thought we'd cracked it and thought it's going to be an all right season. Mid-table's the aim. But it just kind of nosedived the last couple of weeks. We hadn't scored in 5 or 6 games and we didn't look like scoring. And then we lost to Cheltenham, which was probably always going to happen. Darryl Clark coming back and them being in the run that they're on and stuff like that. So we kind of expected that, but then we go and beat Mansfield in the cup comfortably and draw Burton at the weekend in the FA Cup with 10 men for 65 minutes or so. So it seems like it's turned that corner, but it depends what team we can put out at the minute. We've got 5 or 6 out injured, and it's taking its toll really on the on the players. You can tell.
So, obviously you've mentioned the fact that you were really struggling to score recently, and if we go back as far as the EFL Cup 3rd round, which is the end of September. Yeah, you've only scored 2 goals in 8 matches, something like that overall. One of those obviously being in the FA Cup, as you've already mentioned. One of them being in the loss to Cheltenham. What's going wrong in attack? Why is it that you're just not seeming to be? Is it the fact that you're not really creating the chances, or is it the fact that you're creating chances, just can't seem to put them away?
We're creating chances, and we're creating quite a few chances, but we just don't seem to be able to put them away. And the quality of chance is good as well. So it's trying to make it click is the big thing at the moment. We've had a couple of injuries to key players, which means we've had to tweak a few bits. So a few bits have changed, and it's finding that balance between playing nice, pretty football and winning football games, because we are playing good football, but there's no point in playing good football if you're not winning.
And I guess that's the big thing. And sooner rather than later, performances can help distract from results, but sooner rather than later, results will still be at the forefront of everybody's conversations. And if you're not picking them up, then it becomes an issue. I mean, you're mentioning how you do play nice football. I mean, you've got quite a high sort of level of possession as well in a lot of these games, often more than what your opposition has, which is, I guess, somewhat surprising for a team that's been in obviously a bit of a bad run recently. Is that kind of just something you try to do? It's building up from the back, sort of as a team unit and trying to keep hold of the ball. Would that be a fair kind of assessment of your play style?
Yeah, because we haven't really got until the last couple of days, we hadn't really got a focal point. So James Wilson was playing up front until sadly he got injured, and he's technically the best player in this league. He's just made of paper. So I think you're seeing it a bit with Tyler Walker.
Yeah.
Again, like you get him on the pitch, he's going to score goals and create and do something, but you've got to get him on the pitch. And it's that gamble we took with Willow. He signed a contract till January, and he's out till probably then now. So it's a risk. But we brought in Ryan Loft at the end of the transfer window, who then pulled a calf muscle, so we didn't see him for 6 weeks. And we've recently brought in Uche Pezu, who he's something special, but not in the goal scoring sort of way. You watch him; he's a big, horrible piece of work to defend against. He's a big lad. He's strong. He runs with it, but his first touch is either going to be dead at his feet or 30 yards back to your own keeper. Like there is no in between with him. But again, he's a striker that doesn't score goals, so we've got to work out how you get the people around him scoring.
Yeah, and I guess it's about being able to kind of utilise those two players in behind. So on that, the system you're playing, I've got it down as a sort of a 3-4-3. Is that about right?
It's probably a 3-6-1. Really.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we kind of play two number 10s behind the striker rather than two wide men.
Yeah.
So dependent on who's fit. Depending on who's fit, depends on what you see. Connor Ripley will start in goal.
Yeah.
Ollie Arblaster, Funzo Ojo will be the two pivots and centre mid.
Okay.
Devine and Garrity will probably start in your 10s, and Uch will start up front. Then Tom Sang will probably start right wing back. James Plant left wing back.
Yeah.
And then that's where it ends because Smudge is injured. Suspended. Smith is suspended. Iacovitti and Jones are both injured. Lowe went off injured at the weekend. So we're left in a minute with Cass and Deborah. That sound like a couple rather than footballers. We're left with Jesse Deborah and Lewis Cass.
Yeah.
So it's whether we deviate from that 3 because, to be fair, we went for a flat back 4 against Burton and didn't look that much different. It's interesting at the minute.
It's funny because I'm just drawing so many similarities between us and you in that kind of sense at the minute. I mean, we also play with typically 2 tucked-in number 10s that allow the wing-backs to overlap. That's typically how we sort of play with our 2 that play in behind the number 9. And then, so obviously that, there's also, as you were saying, you went to a flat back 4 against Burton. We did the same in our FA Cup game against Morecambe, out of possession anyway. In possession, it kind of moved around a little bit because Jack Burrows pushed up into midfield in like an inverted wing-back role, which in hindsight didn't really work. So I don't think it's something we'll see again. So I think it's going to be a game of 2 tactically similar sides in the sense that we're both going to end up playing the same formation. So it's going to be about the quality of the players on the pitch as to who can make the difference. I just wanted to pick out a couple of players that sort of you've got, and I think first of all, you mentioned one half of the couple, Jesse Deborah, a player who we were, I think it was just paper talk, but a player who we were linked with in the summer ourselves. Obviously, that didn't happen. You guys have him now. What kind of an impact has he had for you guys so far?
To be fair with Deborah, we brought him in as probably someone to look at in the next 2 or 3 seasons rather than right now. He's a big lad. He's athletic. He's quick. But he looks a bit clumsy at the minute because he is so big. His first couple of appearances off the bench, he looked really good. It looked like, we've got a player there. Then he started at Bristol Rovers away and Chris Martin just running ragged and he ended up getting sent off.
Yes, I remember him getting sent off actually, yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 silly yellow cards, but like Chris Martin can do that to anyone. You know, like,
yes.
I think that's partially our fault for giving him that opportunity. When you've got Nathan Smith on the pitch, Nathan Smith should be going with Chris Martin at that point. So I think that was partly tactically our fault for kind of hanging him out to dry a little bit. But when you're on a yellow card, you've then got to be better as well. And he did a stupid tackle. So he's looked good. He's, like I say, he's quick. And against Wrexham on Tuesday, he had a shot from 25 yards that just whistled past the post as well. So he's got all the attributes to be a good player. He's just got to get that experience. And I don't know if we've got no choice at the minute, so he's going to get that experience. But I don't think it was ever planned that he'd be in the first team so quickly.
That's fair enough. He's got to, I guess, take this opportunity now, hasn't he, and kind of prove that the faith that you guys have put in him by signing him, yes, maybe for the future, but he's got to prove that he's warranted that faith pretty soon. Because at the end of the day, then fans will just get up on his back, and that's the last thing that you want. And another player I want to pick out is a player who I was very surprised when you guys signed him, not because I thought he was better than your level or anything daft like that, but he's just one of those names that I think we've probably all signed on Football Manager at some point, and that's Alfie Devine. Obviously, having him in on loan, it is a loan, isn't it? On loan for the season.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. What kind of an impact has he had so far?
If you were asked 3 weeks ago, we've got two lads on loan, Alfie Devine and Ollie Arblaster. Arblaster's from Sheffield United, Devine's from Spurs, as you know. Devine has been through the England setup all through. He's won the World Cup. He's been involved. He's scored for Spurs. If you would ask 3 weeks ago which one of them will go on and play for England, Arblaster would have been head and shoulders above him. Devine really struggled to break in at the start. He showed glimpses against Oxford. He came off the bench, set one up, and scored the winning penalty. So for a lad of his age to do that was massive.
Yeah.
He then struggled for a few weeks. He looked young and a bit. We've all had these 18-year-olds on loan where you look at him and go, that he's a kid still. And that's what Alfie looked like. He's in the 10, but he's kind of dropped back a little bit to make like a three-man midfield at the minute. And in that position now, he's picking it up more. He's doing better, and he's scored 2 or 3 goals in that spell. So we're now seeing the Alfie Devine that we expected to get, because we thought it was a massive coup. To be fair, when a team like Port Vale doesn't sign a Spurs player that is tipped to play in the Premier League in the next couple of years, so
that's the thing. I think Alfie Devine is one of those players that was so highly rated at Spurs that a team who's, let's be honest, you've already mentioned it. Your ambition this season is mid-table in League One. So it was very much a bit of a shock, kind of, when I remember sort of seeing it. So like I said, we know you've got a good squad of players there. There are obviously going to be certain weaknesses that we can try and exploit, and there's going to be certain strengths that you have that are going to be able to try to exploit our weaknesses. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting game. But to kind of wrap that up, what do you think the game's going to be looking like in terms of score prediction on Saturday?
We don't score many, and barring 2 games of the season, we don't concede many either. So I think there's only going to be 1 goal in it either way. I've seen you once this season already when you played Burton, and you should have picked a better game. Well, I was quite excited because I was like, Jesus, these look bad, but I've seen the results since that. I think that was just an off day. The lad that you played up front that day, I can't remember his name. He had a double-barreled surname, but he looked like he was so far out of his depth. It would have been. I think it was Rico Hackett. That's him.
Burton was a really, really difficult one. We were very, very poor, and obviously the manager got sacked a few days later. So Burton was very much the odd one out in a lot of the games. But at the same time, I do sometimes worry that we've got the possibility to play like that against teams. So, like I say, I think for me, I know what you're saying about it being a 1 goal. I think we're going to get I say comfortable. I think we're going to get a 2-0 victory on Saturday. Now, the only reason I'm saying that is, like I say, I feel like we're matched up very evenly in terms of tactics, formation, all of this. So I think it's just going to come down to pure quality on the ball and off it. And it might be unbelievably biased, but I just feel like in some of the key areas of the pitch, we've probably got the better quality. Hopefully, like I said, so I'm hoping that we can edge it because of that. But I also wouldn't be surprised just to see 1 goal in it.
Yeah, to be fair, with our defensive issues at the minute, then I don't think that's beyond the realms.
No.
But yeah, I think it's going to be. I do think it's going to be close. We haven't looked easy to beat this season, barring obviously the Barnsley game. So, and I have to keep caveating that when I say that, because people go, we lost 7-0. It's like, yeah, we did. Well done. But we haven't really looked easy to beat. So it'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's going to be a really interesting game on Saturday, and obviously good luck for it. Not too much luck, but good luck for it, and then good luck for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for joining me, Johnny.
Cheers, mate.
Everybody, make sure to go check out the Ale and Vale pod. Really good set of lads over there. Go have a listen to all of their stuff, and until next time, up the Imps.